Just 2 days ago, an incident took place at LaGuardia Airport. A lot of you have asked me to comment on it. This was a near disaster. I've got a lot to say about this, so hang in all the way to the end. Let's jump into it.
Endeavor 4814, that's 22.
Endeavor 4814, number 2, wind 20019.24, 22, clear land.
Clear land 22, Endeavor 4814.
Okay, the aircraft is Endeavor 4814. It's a CRJ 900, a regional jet that's been in the news quite a bit recently. There's a whole bunch of those in service. Very reliable airplane. You hear a man's voice talking on the radio from the airplane. That means that's the pilot not flying, or what you and I would think of as the co-pilot, at least at this moment. That means the other pilot is flying the airplane. That's important here in just a minute as they swap roles, and you're going to see why. You're clear to land on runway 22. All the runways are short at LaGuardia Airport. You got to get it down. No kidding around. The winds are extremely gusty today, up to 36 knots. Listen.
I got it. I have the aircraft.
I've got it. I have the aircraft. You hear that man's voice say that. Now, here's my conjecture. I believe that's the captain. Listen carefully, my friends, to what I'm going to say next. I'm not saying that because men are always captains and females are always co-pilots. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is this. That was the person talking on the radios, meaning the other pilot was flying. You're going to hear a female voice here in a minute. And it's extremely rare for a first officer to take an airplane from a captain. Completely unheard of. And it's most likely going to be the captain that takes the airplane from a first officer. I believe that's what just happened here. The captain saw this, either the sink rate or the gust that caused the wing to dip down. We're going to find out that there was a strike of that wing on the runway here in just a few minutes. But at that point, it is absolutely the captain that takes the airplane. Let's watch.
Endeavor 4814, runway heading 2000.
Runway heading 2000, Endeavor 4814.
Okay, you hear the co-pilot's voice now. That was who was flying the airplane. Now she is talking on the radios. That's why I believe the other one was the captain. He's taking the airplane. He's flying the go-around. Why did we hear the transmission of I've got it, I've got the aircraft? Why did we hear that? I believe when the captain took the airplane, he grabs the power levers and pushes them up, right? And with his other hand, he grabs the yoke. And as he's grabbing the yoke, there's a press to talk button on the yoke. And he grabbed that whole thing. And when he grabbed it, as he was saying to his co-pilot, I've got it, my aircraft, which he should, that also transmitted at the same time. That's a little bit of insight to what a go-around looks like. This is an event we practice all the time, but it's extremely rare. And one pilot is going to say to the other, I've got the aircraft now, most likely always the captain.
Osprey 311, runway 22.
Clear some other traffic now.
Endeavor 4814, climb maintain 3000, you okay?
You okay? That's an interesting question. You don't always get that question on a go-around. You don't normally get that question at all. There's a reason that they asked that question. We're going to find out in a minute what that reason really was.
3000, Endeavor 4814, we're good.
We're good. All right. Now hang on to that comment in a second. I'm going to tell you about what I think that means.
Endeavor 4814, contact approach at 127.3, I'll see you on your way back.
273, Endeavor 4814.
Okay, let's be clear now. The voice has changed. It's now the other pilot. It happens to be a woman. Right? Remember, if the captain was a female, it would have switched from a female voice at first to a male voice. That's just the way it is, okay? But now she's talking. Things are extremely awkward in this cockpit right now. I can tell you that for sure. Because one pilot has had to take the airplane from another pilot, and yeah. But they've got to be professional about this. They got to bring this airplane back around and land. There's lots of people in the back that are depending on that.
Approach Endeavor 4814, says 2000 to 3000.
Endeavor 4814 here. Your radar contact to southwest of LaGuardia, and you ready to go back in?
We're ready, Endeavor 4814.
Okay, are you ready to go back in? Question is, do you have all your checklist done? Are you configured? Or do you need vectors for a little bit to get everything done before you can come back around and land? That's all that is.
Okay, expect to turn back shortly. Speed 180 when you're able.
Speed 180 when able. I won't like Endeavor 4814.
180 knots is a normal approach speed, usually to a point like the final approach fix on the approach.
Thank you. Endeavor 4814, they're saying on the go, somebody saw some sparks from one of your wings. You guys feel anything?
We didn't, but we'll check it. Thank you, 4814.
Okay, so now this is awkward because ATC has got some information that the airplane needs to know. The last thing that this crew wants to hear is that they think their day, their week, their month is going to get a lot longer, and that maybe they struck the ground when they went on that go around or somehow damaged the airplane. However, air traffic control has got to let them know that they might have a damaged airplane. So he asked them, somebody said there were some sparks on the go around. Not sure what that's all about, but did you feel anything? She comes back and says, no, we didn't feel anything. Now, is that the truth or not? Now, the answer to that is most likely it is. I think they didn't feel a thing, right? There's a lot going on in this episode. Years ago, when I was in the Navy, I was taxiing an airplane on the ground into a parking spot. It was a ramp that was rather congested. They were doing some maintenance, so they had moved some airplanes around and kind of tightened up the space that you had to taxi. I've got the lineman directing me into my parking spot, but as I turned to go into the parking spot, the tail end of the airplane kind of swings out, and the tail end of my airplane just struck the nose of another airplane parked behind me as I was going into my parking spot. Did I feel it? Not a thing. I didn't feel anything. In fact, we set the parking brake, we're doing our shutdown checklist, and somebody comes running up from the back and says, flight, we got a problem. What? We struck another airplane. What? And then, there's hearings and there's boards and there's investigations. All that stuff takes place afterwards. They ask me over and over and over again, did you feel anything? Did you feel anything? Not a thing. And nobody else on that airplane felt anything either. So I really believe that they didn't feel a thing.
4814, hold 170 till Greco, contact LaGuardia Tower, 1187.
170 Greco.
170 to Greco.
4814.
And that's the final approach fix.
4814, I left 22.
Endeavor 4814, glad to tell you are now number 2. Wind is 19017.31. Did the approach controller give you the heads up of the when you did the missed approach over here?
Okay, so this guy's doing the same thing. He's just doing his due diligence, following through and saying, hey, did you hear that maybe you guys struck something on the go around? They want him to have all the information that they need. I can guarantee you this is the last thing that they want to hear, but you know what? They have to hear it. Kudos to this crew, right? The captain took the airplane, took it at the last minute, but you know what? Took the airplane, averted what could have been a much worse accident, potentially. So good on them, heads up on them. And then they're professional all the way around. As they're coming all the way around, they're professional in the way they handle it, even though their mind is probably distracted and wanting to be someplace else.
Affirmative, there, 4814.
Okay. You're clear to land on way 22.
Clear to land 22, there, 4814.
Clear to land.
The emergency truck on my frequency?
Car 0, you.
Yeah, the subject I shall find.
Car 0, copy, subject, short fire.
Okay, so why are they rolling the emergency trucks? Because they have to. There was a report that they maybe struck something, even though this crew feels like there's nothing wrong with their airplane. They landed uneventfully. They taxied all the way to the gate. The emergency trucks followed them. They checked out the airplane. They did end up taking this airplane out of service, and the left wingtip caught a gust of wind, and the very end of the wing touched the ground. That's where the sparks came from. That airplane's still up there at LaGuardia. They're checking it out. They're going to fix it. But all in all, this could have been a whole lot worse. It turned out, to be pretty good. But we got some insight to what goes on in a go-around inside the cockpit. I got it. Okay, that's real important. And the transfer of flying the airplane from the first officer to the captain, a very rare occurrence. I can count 2 times in my entire career of 40 years where I have taken the airplane from another pilot. And that's both times were when I was an instructor and I was teaching a student. That's how rare that is. Now you know. I'm Captain Steeve. Fly safe.